All right. Well, I feel like that book club was like the perfect segue into some of the things that we're going to talk about tonight. Tonight is our systems call. So we are going to talk about, I want to get a couple of housekeeping things out of the way first before we dive into our big topic tonight, which is having strong, confident conversations about Plexus. That's what we're going to dive into tonight. So y'all need to get a notebook, get ready to take some notes because we are going to dive into this tonight, and we're going to get into the nitty gritty of maybe why your conversations are not going the way that you think they should be going. But before we do that, I want to talk about two systems that if you are not already plugged into, you need to get plugged into. The first one is boards. I know we've got two different teams on here, one big team, but two different teams. Give me an emoji or just drop a comment in the chat if you are currently utilizing boards. And if you don't know what boards are, you can also say that. Tell me where you're at with boards. Maggie, I guess my computer's not updated. I don't see what those emojis mean. So tell me, Maggie, are you using them? Yes or no? Boards is amazing. Yes, love my boards.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha, Maggie. It was just says question mark, question mark. Okay, perfect. I love boards. Stephanie says yes. Okay, best thing ever. Is anybody on here not using boards? Does anybody not know what I'm talking about? Everybody's using it.
Amanda's new, and I'm sure Mallory probably doesn't know what it is.
All right, Kate is not using boards. Angelica loves it. Okay, well, for those of y'all who do not know what boards is, Michelle loves it. I want to share with y'all what it is tonight. And if you don't have it, I want you to DM me after this is over, and I'm going to send you directions on how to add it to your phone. In a nutshell, if you're not muted, make sure you mute yourself, everybody, so I don't have feedback. In a nutshell, boards is everything that we used to do in Facebook groups, like our copy paste messages, our images, our reach outs, our follow-ups, our customer care program. Everything is now loaded to a separate and specific keyboard right there on your phone. So if I go in to message my friend Chandra, let me make this a little better. If I go in to message Chandra, I can come down here and pull up this keyboard that I'm loading to my phone, and I have all these different files that allow me to put preloaded content into there. So if Chandra were to message me and say, ask me about Pink Drink, and she said, hey, do you have the info sheet or do you have some information on Pink Drink? All of that is saved into this keyboard. Okay, so you can very easily pop up here and copy paste that right into your messages without having to go dig through notes, without having to go dig through Facebook groups, without having to go through the back office. Everything is loaded here for you. Kate, you are going to cry happy tears when you download boards. It will truly change the game for you. Our entire customer care process is in here. You can just pop those in, 2-week check-in, 3-week check-in, everything is loaded there for you. So I just want to, I guess, remind you, since most of us are using boards, don't forget about that incredible resource. Ours is called Dream Team Brand Ambassadors. That's the name of our chat. There are also other boards that you can download. There are Silver Series. There are other jewels who have boards that are helpful. But here's something that you may not know. And I think if you've been using boards for a while, this is going to be helpful for you. You can create your own scripts within boards. So if you already have our team boards, you can actually go in and create your own. So, you know, Chandra may have a slightly different reach out message than I have, or Christy might have a slightly different follow-up for her customer care. And maybe she doesn't want to get in there and have to edit mine every time. You can go in and create your own files and create your own board so that you have your own wording in there. So I want to just empower y'all to do that. I want to educate you that you can do that. And if you need help, it's pretty easy to navigate, but if you need help doing that, I can help you set that up. But I just don't want y'all to forget about this amazing resource that we have. I update that monthly with the monthly specials, with everything, you know, relevant that's going on. So that is an updated resource that automatically refreshes for you when I update it. Okay. Does anybody have any specific questions on boards before I move past this? Anybody? Unmute if you have a question. Okay. The second thing I want to talk about is the Plexus Go app. How many of y'all have downloaded Plexus Go? Does everybody have it? I want y'all to make sure that y'all are utilizing this app for your new VIP customers. And I feel like this is a step that a lot of us have skipped, but this is such an incredible resource for your new VIPs. I've updated in boards. I've added this to our customer care follow-up because I think it is that important to make sure we're getting our people connected. This is really streamlining it and brought us really up to date from having people log back into their back office on their computer and change their subscription and redeem their perks. They can do all of that from the Go app now. So as soon as someone orders, that's part of their second day, third day customer care is, hey, I want to make sure that you get connected with your free resources as a VIP customer. You're going to have access to free workouts, free recipes that are automatically uploaded for you. You can manage your order, you can manage your subscription, and cash in your free products right here from the app. Okay, so make sure that that is part of your customer care practice and that you're using that. There are also some awesome testimonies that are compliant that we are allowed to share right from the app. So if you need to grab a testimony, of course, we have those uploaded in boards that are easy access to, but we actually have testimonies from corporate uploaded to the Plexus Go app, and those have been given the corporate stamp of approval to share. So utilize that resource. It really is a great one for you to share with your new customers and your new brand ambassadors as well. Does anybody have any questions on the app? Is anybody using the app for Pivotal? Raise your hand or drop something in the chat if you have started using Pivotal since it came out in the app. Stephanie says yes. I will be dead honest, and I was honest about this from the beginning. When we came out with Pivotal last year, I never did a workout because I didn't feel like it was user friendly. I was not going to pull up my computer to do a workout. I just wasn't. It is so user friendly to pop this up on your app and go through the exercises. So I think this is a really big retention piece that we just need to be passing along. Yay! Who's doing their first reset tomorrow? That's exciting. Anyway, you'll have to let me know in the chat. That's awesome. Okay, so any questions on Plexus Go? We feel good about that? Let's make sure we add that to our customer care. Oh, it's Erin. She's doing her first reset. Yay. Hey, Erin. All right, so let's dig in tonight to our systems, and we're going to talk tonight about conversation flow and follow-up. And Stephanie said this just a few minutes ago when she was chatting, when she said, this is a relationship business, first and foremost. One of our team's core values is service, and it will always be service and sharing with integrity without an agenda outside of serving people and giving people solutions to their problems. That should be our heart approach anytime we're having a conversation with anybody about Plexus. Anytime we're posting, anytime we're sharing about this opportunity, we are sharing with integrity to help people solve their problems and offer them solutions. And that's really how I want you to approach every single conversation you have inside of this business. Your focus should always be, how can I add value to this person? How can I solve a problem for them? And the best way for us to do that is confidently drive a conversation in a way that's going to add value, talk less, and ask more questions. That's how we're going to do that. And if there is anything I've learned being in the sales industry for 7 years, reluctantly being in the sales industry for years, because there were probably 4 or 5 of those years where I didn't even consider myself to be in sales. So I think the first thing we have to do is embrace that, yes, we are in sales. Yes, we are in network marketing, but we are also in a service model. And those two things can coexist. Okay. I fought that for a very long time, but sales and service absolutely can coexist, especially in a business like this. But if there's anything that I've learned being in the sales industry is that people care more about how confidently you deliver your information than they sometimes do about how much you know. And you hear us say this so often, that you don't need to be an expert in the beginning when you're sharing. And y'all, that's absolutely true. You don't need to be an expert on gut health or blood sugar or medical issues to be able to share these products. Now, as you grow, you absolutely do need to educate yourself and grow towards knowing our products and knowing our field. But you really don't have to be a gut health expert to do this, but you do need to be confident. And I want y'all to write that down. Like as simple as that sounds, your confidence and the inflection and the way that you drive conversations matters. One of the things that I so often see and I see this a lot as people are starting to share, and also with people who have been doing this for a while, who haven't maybe embraced the mindset that we are in sales, is that we come into this, and we come into a conversation, or we come into a reach out, or we come into a response to a reel with an apologetic tone. Has anybody ever done that? Like, you're in a message with somebody and you already just are coming with this posture of apology. Like you're apologizing for bothering people, or I don't want to bother you, or you know what, take this or leave this. I'm just kind of sharing some information with you. We come into this with this apologetic tone. And I want us tonight to just eliminate that. If that is something you've been doing knowingly or unknowingly, we're going to take that and we're going to toss it out tonight. We are eliminating it. Before we ever get into a message with somebody, I want you to think about why you are reaching out. And Noelle, if I had that video from the other night of Krista Deary, I would play it again right here. I want you to think about, before every single conversation, why you are reaching out, why you are responding to that comment, because you want to help, because you know that you have something either in the product or in the compensation plan that can help. And if you have something that you know can help, you need to be confident about that, not apologetic. You are providing solutions. And if you are apologetic, nobody is going to trust you to lead them to that solution, no matter how much you know, no matter how much information you give them. And y'all can kind of think about this. Steph, I'm thinking about you with your plane phobia. What kind of airplane pilot do you want flying your airplane? When he comes over the intercom before the flight starts, what kind of voice do you want to hear coming through that intercom? Do you want to hear a pilot who is, well, guys, you know, this is my first time. We're going to see what we can do. You know, if you've got any questions, direct it to the airline stewardess. We're going to do our best. I'm going to do my best to get you there. Absolutely not. You want to hear a boss on the end of that intercom telling you that you are going to arrive at your destination safely, and he is going to provide a solution to the fear that you're having in your heart from being on that plane. The same thing goes for our business. We want to be confident in our delivery, and we want to make sure that when we are messaging with somebody, they feel confident that they can follow us to provide a solution for them. Even if you don't know the answer, you can still sound confident in relaying that. You know what? That's a great question. I'm going to find that out for you. In the meantime, I'm going to shoot you over a resource that might be helpful. People are so much more concerned with how it is going to help them and serve them than your brain knowledge. You've got to be confident. It is our human nature, y'all. And if you're on my team, you've heard me say this before. Everybody out there is walking around thinking, what's in it for me? And if we can approach this with the posture that we get to be their guide, and we get to show them and guide them to a solution to their issues, that is the goal. Okay. So with that in mind, I want to walk y'all through a typical Plexus conversation. And I have this all typed out in a PDF. If you want that, I can share it in our team chat. This is something that I have pulled up on my computer every time I sit down to send messages or to do reach outs. And I want you to remember something, that you are the pilot of this plane. You are the driver of this conversation. There is no more winging it in conversations with people. This is really a system. And this is what systems are. It's having a certain way or a systematic way to handle situations that commonly arise. Situation that commonly arises for us is that we're in conversations with people all the time. So if you have been winging your conversations and you're like, oh, well, every conversation is different, and, you know, sometimes I might respond with this and sometimes it looks like this. Yes, of course, each conversation has different nuances, but there should absolutely be a direction that you are driving every single conversation. So this is how we're going to start driving those conversations. And this really applies to all conversations. And it really is just a great skill to learn in general. Get curious about the other person. People love talking about themselves, and they are talking to you specifically when we're in Plexus to find a solution to their problems. So don't let them go off course. You are driving them towards that solution. That is our job. So we're going to let them share. The person asking the questions steers the conversation. So you want to be that person, and you want to get really good at asking the right questions and listening well so that you can serve them well. Okay, so write that down. We're going to ask the right questions, and we are going to steer the conversations in the same direction. Okay, So here's kind of how that flow goes. And this is so simple, y'all. This is not rocket science. You probably are hopefully doing something like this anyway, but this is how 99% of Plexus conversations are going to go. Whether I reach out to somebody or whether somebody comments on a post or whether somebody messages me about pricing or whether they message me about, can it help with energy or what ingredient does this have in it? Before I can share any of that information with them, I have to build value first. I have to build personal value for that person. And if you've listened to my sales training on this and kind of what I shared a while ago, everybody is always thinking, what's in it for me? How is this product? How is this opportunity going to help me? So if I don't know what that person needs, I can't provide a solution. So if somebody jumps in my DMs and sees me talking in my stories and says, oh, how much is it? I don't know what they need yet. I don't know how I'm going to build value for this person. I don't know if they need Triplex or if they need Pink Drink Active MetaBurn combo. I don't know what they need. So before I can share pricing information with them, I've got to go through this conversation flow and get to the heart of what they need first. Okay. So I always start a conversation like this. I'm so glad to be connected with you and I would love to help no matter what their question is. Would you mind, or, and if it's a pricing question, let's say, before we get to that, would you mind sharing your health goals or concerns at the moment so I can make sure I'm pointing you in the right direction? These are some of the things the supplements I take can help with. We can hop in and go from there. And then I attach the little symptoms graphic that y'all probably all have, but I'll drop it in the team chat as well. It's a list of about 10 symptoms. It's energy, bloating, constipation, all the things. And I ask them that open-ended question. Would you mind sharing your health concerns at the moment so I can make sure I'm pointing you in the right direction first? We can hop in and go from there. Okay. And that way, when they answer back, I have a clearer picture of what Noelle is struggling with so that I can guide her to the solution for her problems. I can't do that if I don't know what she's struggling with. That allows me to, number one, make sure it's a good fit. And number two, it allows me to now be the driver of the conversation and ask the questions and provide solutions. So after they respond back, and let's say, I don't know, Noelle responds back and she's struggling with energy, hormones, and bloating. I don't know. I always respond back in a voice message. And this is so important because it's going to allow you to hear your heart, to make it personal and directly address their needs. The goal here is connection. So no matter what they send back to you, whether it's a short and sweet answer, whether it's a long drawn out, you are going to always respond with a voice message because that's going to allow you to make that connection and really build that value. Be fully present in that message. Let them hear your compassion. Let them hear your confidence and your desire to help them, and then show them how it's going to help them. Something that I was reminded of, I was talking with a good friend of mine. She's a diamond, and we've been talking a lot recently here. And I was just having a day where I was super discouraged. I was in a lot of messages that day, and I just felt like nobody was coming through. I couldn't close. And it was just a rough Plexus day. And she reminded me, she said, Chelsea, I want you to remember that your business could absolutely change in a 30-second voice message. And you won't know it until 5, 6, 12 months down the line. But these conversations that you are in and the intentionality with which you handle them has the ability to change your entire business. So remember that when you're in these messages, be fully present. Let them hear your compassion. Let them hear your confidence and your true desire to help them. And then we're going to show them how. This isn't a time to talk ingredients. It is your chance to build value and specifically address and restate their needs. So here's an example of something I might say to Noelle if she's told me she's struggling with energy, bloating, and hormones. Noelle, thank you so much for sharing that with me. You are definitely in good company. I can very much relate to the energy and bloating piece. Those were two things that were at the top of my list a couple of years ago. And I started taking some supplements from Plexus that have helped me so much with that. And really what I've learned since starting is just how much gut health and blood sugar impact both of those things. I'm reading my script. Is just how much blood sugar and gut health impact both of those things. Energy and bloating are directly correlated, and they are really red flags that there is something deeper going on in your body that is either tied to gut health or blood sugar or both. And that is exactly what the supplements that I take target. I'm going to share with you right down here below what I've taken that's helped me so much. Take a look at this. Let me know what questions you have and we can hop in and go from there. But I am so excited to be connected with you and help you find a solution. That's how I'm going to get in a message with her. I'm going to restate what she's struggling with. I'm going to give her some sort of evidence about gut health and blood sugar. Notice I didn't go on a tangent. I didn't send her 5 gut health articles. I just stated in confidence that I know what I'm talking about. I'm steering you in the right direction. And then I'm reaffirming to her that I can help her find a solution. Okay. From there, that's when you're going to send her the third-party tools and the written information. And here you want to make sure you're giving enough information for them to make a decision without overwhelming them. Okay. If you send them 7 voice messages with your expertise about gut health, you are going to lose them. Okay. So here is the formula that I found has worked really well. I always attach 1 to 3 relevant testimonies. So I'm going to send Noelle, maybe my friend Diane's testimony because she struggled with hormones and bloating and energy. I may send her my testimony, send her a couple that are going to resonate with her. Then you're going to send her that triplex graphic because that's what I would suggest for Noelle. Whatever you're going to suggest, you're going to send her that graphic and send the triplex video if that's something that would be relevant. If it's not triplex, don't send her the triplex video. And then you're going to ask her another question to keep the conversation going. And I'm going to end it with, this is where we both started. This is where Diane and I both started. It's my lifeline. Do you think this would be a good fit? I'm ending with a question because I don't want to make it awkward when I am going to go back in there and follow up with her. I'm ending with a question with the expectation that she's going to respond back to me. And then from there, you get to address objections. You get to talk pricing. This is a great place to start a 3-way message. If somebody asks you a question, if you're newer that you don't know, you respond back with that confidence. That's a great question. I'm new. I'm going to get you connected with my friend Stephanie so she can help us. And then you don't ask, you just put them in a message with Stephanie so Stephanie can help. If somebody asks you about pricing and you're not comfortable with that, connect them in a 3-way message. That's a great place for you to kind of work out your objections and then go from there. Always, always be direct. Always ask questions and listen well. And don't be afraid to share third-party tools and messages. And one of the biggest pieces of advice as we kind of wrap up with this, in your messaging, and as you're kind of going through this flow, is always end the conversation with a question and be thinking forward to how am I going to contact them next? And I know one of the things I used to end my messages with was I would send them all that good information, but I would end it with, let me know if you have any questions. How am I supposed to follow back up with that person when she forgets to read that message or when she has a bad day with her toddler and doesn't jump back in there? It makes it awkward for you. So set yourself up for success. We know that it takes sometimes 5 to 7 touches for people to be ready to purchase. Always end your messages with either a question or the intention to follow back up with them. You're really setting yourself up to be a professional like that. Emily, I can't wait for you to watch that video. I'll check in with you tomorrow morning to see what you thought. So Emily automatically knows that I'm going to be checking back in with her tomorrow morning. I've set the expectation, and there's just a little tiny bit of pressure for Emily to watch that video. If I message her in the morning, oh my gosh, my baby was up all night. I hadn't got a chance to listen to it yet. Oh my goodness, I totally get that. Life is so busy. That happens to me all the time. I'm going to check back in with you in a day or two when things settle down, because I cannot wait to hear what you think about that video, because I really think it is going to help you with those issues that we've been talking about. I'm so excited for you to learn a little bit more. You are setting the expectation that you're coming back, and they know that you're coming back. Okay. I do want to touch on follow-up in just a minute, but I want to stop right there and see if there are any questions about conversation flow. Does anybody have any specific questions about that before we pop into follow-up?
How many conversations did you have to do wrong before you started to sound like that?
I'm in 7 years, Rebecca. I'm being dead honest with you. I don't think I mastered this until year 6.5. And that's just because, clearly it was still working. Like what I was doing was still working, but I feel so confident now because I have failed forward so many times.
Chelsea, you make everything. I'd buy anything from you. I'd probably give you my child. You're so good. But
And Noel.
But you guys don't have to sound like Chelsea, you know? Like seriously, Dan and I sound completely different than each other when we talk to people. And I know Rebecca sounds completely different, so don't compare yourself. She's just showing you how it goes. And I just want to add in, when someone asks the price, guys, I always tell them it works out to $3 and some change a day. Can you believe how cheap it is? Like, you want confidence and expectation. I'm like, you're never going to believe how cheap this is. And then we always follow it with, but we never want, you know, finances to get in the way of your health journey. So we pride ourselves on helping you get your products paid for, right? Because you never want someone to just like have that cost objection, right?
That's exactly right. And Noel, like what you just said is a system. That is your system of how you share. Your system may look different than mine. It's following the same principles because you're serving and you're driving them towards a solution in the same way that I am, but you're going to do it in a different way because your personality is different. So please don't walk away from this. I'm so glad you said that, thinking that you need to write down word for word what I'm saying. No, you need to find your own way to build value for people, to say it in a way that feels like you, but have a system. Don't just wing it and think, well, what am I going to say this time? Maybe I'll share a little bit about this and I'll talk. Just have a system for sharing.
Chelsea, I'm going to listen to you on the loop till I'm saying y'all and sound really cute.
If you start saying y'all, I'm going to call you out. Well,
I want to just throw this in there to you guys, because Chelsea, I appreciate you saying that. Like, it took you however long to get super comfortable with how you respond and reach out to people. But think about this too, you guys, like social media changes so much, even just every couple of years. When I first started in this in 2014, Noel joined in 2015. I feel like we could make a post and we would get tons of people that would reach out, because during that time, you know, the social media platforms weren't really inundated with people like ourselves who were brand ambassadors of companies selling stuff, you know? So naturally, everybody that on your friends list was like, oh, what are you doing? You know, what is this? Tell me more. And I think over the years, if you guys remember, I feel like I'm probably a dinosaur on this call, but like Instagram started off just pretty pictures. And all of a sudden it morphed into this really like selling platform where like 5 years ago, I feel like, and I'm not a social media expert, but I feel like it was like more acceptable to sell stuff on Instagram versus Facebook, where Facebook people wanted to see you and your family and your kids and all that stuff. And then now there's other stuff, you know, TikTok and then stories and all the things. So this is what my thought pattern goes to. Who do you guys follow that you just love, that you know, like, and trust? Like those people that you gravitate towards, you will buy anything that they're recommending, you will add it to cart just because it's so-and-so. Think about how they show up. And I'm not saying be them or emulate them, but I just offer this to say, it's okay to just completely show up as yourself, or to show up as, you know, not what you're used to seeing in your newsfeed. Because for the longest time, I didn't promote a whole lot on Instagram because I just thought that's not my jam. That's not my demographic. I'm going to stick to Facebook. So I just say all that to say, like, find something that works for you, but be you. Because if you're showing up all of a sudden in this business and you're using scripts, and there's nothing wrong with that, as long as they're like, you tweak them to make it your own. And that's why I'm a big fan of this. And I know Chelsea mentioned this with like doing voice messages. People need to hear you, because I think that sounds way more genuine. But even if you type it out, I think all this to say, I just think people are being numb. They're just numb to being sold to today. So I just say, like, just do that extra step to make it be more personable, and just to be, I don't know, just to be cognizant of that. Because that's what everybody out there is doing. Every single person, even if they're not in this industry, they are selling something or they're promoting something, you know? So I just say, like, we are like, the consumer psyche is just fried because we're getting, you know, just sold to every time there's an ad in every single thing we open up today. Messenger, Facebook, you know, Instagram. So more than ever, it's just really important to find a way to be genuine and, you know, to just share your story. Even if you just started in this, you're just excited about it. You don't have to have like some crazy testimony or a 30-pound weight loss before you can share it. And, you know, just be genuine and just be excited about it. I've always joked about, I'll say this and I'll shut up, but I always joked about that from the time that Noelle joined, because Noelle couldn't tell you, and probably still to this day, an ingredient, any of the products. But when she talks about Plexus, she's so passionate about it. And she's just, you know, people hear her speak and they're like, I want whatever you're taking. Like, just tell me what to order. So I just think there's a lot to be said for that, if that makes sense. Just be excited, be you, be real, be genuine. I feel like that is what stands out more today than most of what's out there, influencers and all the like. So
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I really feel like this value piece that we're talking about is what sets us apart from all the noise out there, because I feel like everybody is trying to sell something. Everybody is pushing their own agenda. But when we can get in there and provide those targeted solutions and get to the heart of what Mallory is struggling with and what Vivian is struggling with, and really speak to that in a voice message, like that's what sets us apart. That gives us the power to be to speak into that person versus just being noise on social media. So yeah, I think that's why adding that value piece and speaking directly to that is so important. It really just sets us apart. That's so good. Okay, well, I want to just quickly touch on this as we're talking about conversations and relationships. As we kind of wrap up tonight, is I want you to make sure, as you're having these conversations, as you're building this value, to make sure you have a system with how you are following up with these people. We just talked about having conversations with the end in mind of, I might not make the sale on this contact, so I need to be thinking forward to how am I going to make that second, fifth, seventh touch? Because we know, and if you don't know this, you need to know this so you don't get discouraged, is that it can take anywhere from 5 to 12 touches for most people to be ready to purchase. Now, a touch can come in different forms. It might be a reel that they see of yours. It could be messages that you send back and forth. It could be, you know, an online event that they attend, another post they see, a testimony here, a message here. Those are all touches. But know that people probably are not going to be ready to purchase the very first time around. So we need to make sure that we are being patient and we are being intentional to have a follow-up system. So don't take it personally when you feel like you have an amazing conversation with somebody and you follow your system perfectly and you're like, well, dang, why didn't they sign? Like, why didn't they order Troplex? Or maybe you feel like you had a conversation that didn't go well. Don't think to yourself, well, I blew that one, never coming back. Maybe you just haven't built enough value for them yet. So following up and having a system with keeping up for that is so important. And up until a couple of months ago, I kept mine in a physical notebook. I would write their name down. If I talked to Noelle, I would write Noelle's name down. I would talk about the health issues that she had, and I would put the date. And when I was sitting down to do my Plexus work and I would go back to my potentials page, I would look and see, well, the last time I talked to Noelle was 2 months ago. Maybe I need to shoot her a testimony or just pop in there and engage with her, comment on some of her things and keep that engagement going. I make sure now, or excuse me, if you don't have a system, I would encourage you to get a system, whether it is a notebook or whether it is just a PDF that you have. Now I keep everything in a running document on my computer. And when I sit down to do my Plexus block, I add people, I update my list, I make notes as I go. I put an emoji next to their name when they order, so I can make sure that I go back and follow up with them. And that really just helps me keep up with people. Whatever your system is, make sure that you have a system, because I promise you, you're going to forget about people. You're going to forget about people if you don't have their name in a document, if you don't have their name in a notebook. Just have a system, whatever that looks like for you, a Word document, an Excel spreadsheet, a $2 Target notebook. Just make sure you have some means of keeping up with people that you're talking to so that you can be intentional to come back to those conversations. And next time we do our systems call, I think it'll probably be in September. I'm going to talk a little bit more about social media specifically. Steph touched on the fact that it is ever changing. It is ever changing. And sometimes I feel like that can be frustrating for us because once we kind of master one thing, is on to the next, and the algorithm's changing and all those things. I'm going to talk a little bit about social media and really how to create timeless content and really speak value to your customers so that you do stand out from the crowd and you can separate yourself kind of from the noise that's out there. So that's what we're going to chat about next time. But honestly, these skills that we just talked about tonight are timeless. It doesn't matter what's going on in social media. It doesn't matter what's going on in the digital world. If you can master this skill of adding value and asking questions and being the leader of the conversation, you can be good at sales. This is what sales skills really are. So I would encourage y'all to practice these. Rebecca, practice those voice messages. That's what I have done over the years, is just practice and practice and practice sending those voice messages, and it really does stick.
Hey, Rebecca, I'll add, that's why I do lives on Facebook instead of recording and posting them. Like, when I re-listen to my voice messages, I'm like, those are terrible, but I've been doing it for almost 9 years and it's always worked, right? Because people just want to hear your love and passion. Like, people can tell if you care, don't you guys think? Like, from your voice, but from a text message, you can't really tell. I mean, think about Chelsea's voice and then picture it coming through on a text. It's probably still pretty, but not life-changing. I don't know, I love voice messages. Some people say to do video ones. Those seem hard, I feel like, but. And Chelsea,
they would get this angle of me and it would not be good. The triple chin angle.
I wish you were doing your social media one before September. You guys, if you don't already follow Chelsea, you should. She's amazing.
You're so sweet. But I feel like one of the things, like, you and I share so differently, Noelle. I mean, we share so differently. But if I didn't know you and I followed you and watched one of your lives, I would want to join you because you have so much credibility and so much confidence in the way that you share. Truly. If I haven't heard you speak a fact about gut health, I mean, truly, like, I have confidence because I know your heart is to help people, and I know your heart is to coach and make sure that your people are successful in life and in Plexus and in everything they do. And that just comes through in what you're sharing. So in our own way, we can all do that. We do not all have to show up and be Noelle. God knows I'm not. I wish I had a piece of her personality. Like, I just hope she rubs off on me sometimes. I'm like, give me some of your extroverted energy and some of your personality. But I'm still doing this in a way that works for me. And so can you. Show up and be confident and fly your plane and confidently land your people. That's what we're landing on tonight.
The most beautiful thing about a team is that we all get to show up in our strengths and leverage each other, right? We all, I mean, I've seen so many incredible things happen from working as a team. And what she was saying about the follow-up, my follow-up used to be prayer. I would be diamond if I did actually write it down ever. So Maggie, that's my new goal. Thank you.
Love it. Noelle, you'd be diamond if you had a notebook. Somebody send her a notebook.
I have like 10 of them. That's the problem.
Right. All right. Well, I'll drop my PDF, like my little cheat sheet that I have up on my computer right now. I can drop that in our team chat today, and I'll drop that little symptoms graphic. But just keep practicing, y'all. Something Stephanie said a while ago, and I will end on this because I think this is so important to say. She said, anybody can be successful if you are committed to the process and you are consistent. And I'll add to that, she is 100% right, but I will add to, if you are consistent with the wrong activities and the wrong skills, you will continue to spin your wheels. And I don't say that to discourage you. I say that to encourage you to hone these skills. Like, do not sleep on this information, because if you are sending bad messages for 8 years, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it anywhere. If you're not adding value, you've got to be honing your craft, sharpening these skills, and becoming a master of driving the plane. So that's why these book clubs are so important. That's why these calls are so important. Make sure that you are sharpening your sword, y'all. Don't just think that you can show up and be consistent for the sake of consistency and do this. This is all a set of skills that you can learn, but you got to learn it. You got to implement it. Okay. Noelle said, if anybody wants to send voice messages to practice. Awesome. All right. Well, I love y'all. I'll drop that PDF in here right now before I forget. It'll be in the team chat.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Night, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Do you like how I go into ghost mode until everybody leaves?
Yeah, turn the
That's
recording
the way
off.
to do it. I need to start doing
Turn
that.
the recording off.